Hi, everybody. So, I wanted to come on today and I would like to respond to a video that I saw from a friend of mine. And I'll call him a friend because we've been communicating back and forth, and I think that at some point we might even do some lives and go live and be able to share this platform just to talk about things from the female perspective and from the male perspective. And as you all know, for those that are following me and may follow my channel, you may know that my channel is pretty much for people around, I say 50 and over. I kind of thought about that the other day and I said maybe, 45 ish. Some 40-year-olds might find it to be interesting as well. But for the sake of this video, I want to just respond to something that he posted a video about. And he was talking about blended families. Like once you've gone through a divorce or you've had an issue with a relationship and you have children that are involved. And blended families, what does that look like? And he talked about if the woman goes on and she is remarrying or she's in a new relationship that has a active father who is in the life of the children that she has, how that mother should either bring that relationship with her new husband and new relationship together. And mainly he was talking about from a husband perspective. So and because honestly my channel is really for people who are like-minded when it comes to marriage. I'm not really much of just a relationship type person. I would never be one that would just be dating someone for a long period of time just because of my belief and my faith walk and what it represents to me. So that's nothing against anybody else. It's just the way that I think. I'm dating, or when I step back into dating, I mean, like every time I meet somebody right now, it kind of just fizzles right on out. So, but in my dating process, I'm dating for the purpose of to get married at some point. And he talked about the mother's responsibility to bring those relationships together and to assure that the new husband understands that this active father is there and that he is really the disciplinary component in those children's lives. And so again, understanding that this is coming from a perspective where you have an active father. That means that the dad is there. He's always been in these children's lives. There's nothing that is lacking, nothing missing in the kid's life from the perspective of their dad not being there. And his point was that it is the woman's responsibility or the mother's responsibility to forge that relationship, to either bring forth a meeting of those men and to assure that she sets the foundation for what this is going to look like. And honestly, that should be talked about. If you're dating somebody with the intent of marrying them, that should be a discussion that you're having early on in the relationship, especially when younger children are involved. And even with adult children, I have to do a whole nother video about that because I have my perspective on that as well. Sometimes that becomes an issue when you're dating or in a relationship. And so he talked about, it create the mother creating harmony and the mother establishing what that's going to look like. Otherwise, what it does is it puts the father in a position where it makes him look like he's kind of like the villain. He has a problem with this, he has a problem with that. And oftentimes, that can become an issue in families because real men that are truly involved in their children's lives, they're going to have a problem with how you handle their kids if they handle them a different way. And it doesn't mean that they're saying that it's okay for your children to be disrespectful to your new husband or to your new mate, but he is saying that I got this fatherhood thing. I might not have did good at the husband thing, but I got this fatherhood thing down pat. I got a structure for how I expect for that to go. And from my perspective and from my opinion and based on my beliefs and my thoughts, he is 1,000% correct. He is absolutely correct with stating that that mother should set the standard for what that process is going to look like. The reason that I can say that is because I was married and I had children, and I established to assure, and my kids do have different fathers. My oldest son is by my first husband, and my younger son is by his dad, who we talked about marriage, but we didn't get married. And that was a good thing. So, but I made sure that I forged that relationship because my sons do have a relationship with their fathers. Now, in some cases, better than others, but they have a relationship there. And I made sure that there was one, an establishment of respect for their fathers, but two, that my children understood that there was an establishment of respect for, at that time, my new husband, who was then the head of my household. And it was important to me that my children had, I wrote down healthy children equal healthy adults. Typically, if your children see that you as the adults are getting along, then the children can't play you back and forth. You have to be really careful with that because children know and they play you back and forth when you're in the household together. So they definitely will do it when there is a point of division that is already there. So, I didn't want to make this video long. I wanted to just kind of respond to his statement. And, honestly, I really would love to see he and I kind of tag team on a couple of things. Not necessarily that we always agree on things, but I think that the content that he brings forth and the perspective from a Christian foundation, and two, from a mindset of a man that is intended or desiring to actually show love and healthiness to his children after he's no longer in the home. I think that that's a really good piece. But it is going to be, and it doesn't lay on the mother's shoulders to handle that because we all are adults and everybody has to take responsibility for their part. But if you establish that this is what is in place, because the father was already there, he was already in the life of these children. And so, and again, we're talking about fathers who are actively involved in their children's life. You can't just cut that component out just because the mate did not make it. And that was really important to me, to make sure that my sons had healthy relationships with their fathers. Now that they are older, they are establishing um, their own relationships. They are establishing how that's going to look with them and what that will look like. Now, at some point, it is my desire to get married again. And, but the difference is my children are not small anymore. They're older and they're like I can just have a basic conversation. I don't have to really manage and mold that component anymore. But even as I said, I would love to do a video later on about adult children, like dating with adult children, dating with teenagers. Like that's a whole nother dynamic. Because no, you don't have the dynamic of daycare and dropping off and picking up and things like that. But you got that whole teenage attitude going on, and it's a whole different vibe when a man or a woman comes into your home and they were not a part of that original family concept. It is and it's the same for the man, just to make sure that my video is clear. But I'm responding to his based on the question that he asked. But it's the same thing for a man, that he has to establish that no, this is my new wife, and my kids don't get to come in and just run all over her just because she's not their mother. As long as she's being respectful, she's assuring that their well-being is taken care of, and she is assuring that respectfully, she's giving them the boundaries and things of that sort. Because I got some stories that I could tell about even that component. Men that have not stood up in the places that they should have when it came down to the children being in the home with a new wife. And so it's a sensitive dance, but I believe that if you do it from a spiritual perspective, you do it from a Christian perspective, you really are doing the work to try to assure that you are doing what is best for the children. You can find a happy medium sometimes. Now, does that mean that it's easy? No, it doesn't. It means that it is even more work than what you have when you are in just a marriage. And we've kind of talked about that this channel is really going to be for people who have been in marriages and relationships, and you're really kind of either starting that process all over again. And so this is just a channel that will help to kind of guide you through that process. But if you are a female and you have remarried